sixes to the fields, one voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in 86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working, great talking dog. Call in with your tape, but don't get it wrong. He'll call you a nitwit if you're acting a fool, but deep down you love it, that's the Eskin rule. Riding with the king, yeah, we're riding with the king. Howard Eskin show, let the truth ring. Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin show. Let's go get sight. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.
And good morning. As you're riding with the king as we're live on Saturday morning, riding with the king. There is a lot to talk about. It's a little bit of an amazement that the NFL Combine it's really more news about trade talk than it is about players working out. Players, I mean, they have their own individual day workout. So it's interviews, it's timing the 40s and all that other kind of stuff. But good morning. A lot of people from different parts of the country always listening to the show, every show. But today, obviously, being Saturday, let me see. We have somebody from Boston. Staying in my lanes, always here from Arizona. That's early. He's getting up early in Arizona. Let me see. We got Silver Spring, Maryland, Las Vegas. Am I missing anybody? Las Vegas. But we get people from all at Clearwater, which was been a little cold for the last few days. But before we get into the discussion, and got to talk about this A.J. Brown situation. Rahway, New Jersey, chiming in. Plymouth Whitemarsh. Okay, thanks. Plymouth Whitemarsh. Before we talk about the A.J. Brown situation and the other topics that I want to touch on today, I got to touch on this Maxey 3-point record, and I'll touch on that later too. And the U.S. women's Olympic team, how proud I am of them. But we'll get into all that. But first, I want to tell you that I am honored to be presented by and sponsored. The presenting sponsor of the Howard Eskin Show is Stillwell Financial Advisors. Jeff Stillwell, the award-winning Jeff Stillwell. He knows what he's doing. And he was given an award for his exceptional commitment to financial planning and outstanding client service. He can help many, many people, and he's already helped many, many people with his financial planning and in the changing world of finance and the changing world in the United States. He's established himself, Jeff Stillwell has, as one of the company's top advisors. Only a select number get that, get the award. Jeff Stillwell, here's a number to give them a call. Stillwell Financial Advisors, our presenting sponsor, 732-343-0813. You got that number, 732-343-0813. All right, we're going to talk about A.J. Brown. How he's trying to play both sides of the fence. And if you see through it, rather than the nonsense you see on ESPN, because they just need filler. It's hard with the topics every morning and all those bobblehead talk shows that they have. It's just, hey, in any case, hey, if somebody would give you 3 number 1 picks for Jalen Hurts, I think the Eagles would take it. But nobody's going to do that. So when you look at these, and they're not trading Jalen Hurts, not right now anyway. When you look at these things, you've got to understand what they're trying to do. We'll touch on that. Touch on Maxey's situation. I want to touch on the U.S. women's hockey team. I can't tell you how proud I am of what they did. And there's an interesting media story by a media company about where podcasts are compared to radio, and podcasts have passed radio listeners. But I'm going to share part of that story with you later in the show. But also, I want to, because I'm so happy that we have so many partners and good partners. That's the whole thing. I know my partners. I know Stillwell, and I also know Thomas Chevrolet. It didn't take long when I walked through the doors, and I've met the owner, Tom, and he was such a good guy. I had met him 30 years ago. I didn't realize it until we started talking, and then I realized I did. But Thomas Chevrolet, the good thing about Thomas Chevrolet, one of the many good things is that they're a family-owned business located 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media, up to $14,000 in savings, 0% APR for up to 60 months. That's available. Pre-owned cars, new cars. I'm driving the Equinox, which is ranked very high in Consumer Reports as far as maintenance and as far as the vehicle is concerned. Obviously, the staple for many years with Thomas Chevrolet, and Chevrolet is a Corvette. Then they have Silverado, Traverse, Tahoe. And Thomas Chevrolet is a certified Corvette specialist dealer. So when you walk through the door, you'll notice that they're a family-owned business, and the family, a few of the people from the family work there. Great selection of new vehicles, obviously, and pre-owned vehicles. That's important. Service, if you want service on any vehicle, they will do service on any vehicle. Service department, pretty sharp guys. Thomas Chevrolet, 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media. You'll notice when you walk through the door, 610-566-8600 is their number. Check them out at thomaschevy.com. Also, another fine partner of this program, Piaza Property Pros. You want a new pool? They can help you out. They can build a new pool in your backyard, but they can give you a vision, because they have a gentleman there that works on just through the great world of technology, show you what your backyard would look like with a new pool, whether it's fencing, whether it's landscaping, whatever you're looking for, whether you want to do the front yard, they can do that. Piazza Property Pros knows what they're doing, and they've known it for 25 years. They don't subcontract. That's really important. People understand when you get it. So they have their own people, responsible for their own people, and they can do a great job in your backyard, your front yard, whatever it is, fencing, landscaping, hardscaping. Piazza Property Pros can do it. They started their new world of podcasting. They had their first one. But they know what they're doing. Here's a number, 610-566-2608, 610-566-2608, or check them out at piazzaoutdoor.com. Dirt to Dollars is their podcast if you want to check it out. All right, let's get into the subject matter. And we already have a couple of people joining. But before we join, I want to give you, you didn't need a jump start on A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown was on a podcast with Julian Edelman, and they started this nonsense. Let's listen to this.
Just remember, we're all patriots. You know that, right?
Are you going to be a patriot? Are you going to be a Patriot.
Wait, what's a team meeting like with Vrabel?
It wouldn't be as comfortable as we are right now. Let's start there. But Vrabel is the type of coach, he's going to call on you in the meetings. He's going to make sure that you're staying engaged, and he's going to go over the keys to victory of the week. And you better know them, like, to the back of your hand. I used to write in my notebook, because at the time, I didn't really like Vrabel. I admit that, he knows that. So I used to write, I hate Vrabel, I hate Vrabel, I hate Vrabel, right? But I was doing that to pretend like I was taking notes, to look like I was engaged, but because he was so hard on me when I was a rookie, and I didn't really understand it. And so it was at the time I told Ray, I was like, hey, like, I'm humble already. You don't gotta humble me. But I really didn't understand what he was trying to push me to be. And another little quick thing, he showed a clip, I ran like a bang gate, and I scored, and he praised me. And so I was kind of feeling good about myself, right? I'm a rookie. A couple of plays later, he showed me another play with the bang gate, and I get tackled. And he's like, what's the difference between the first play and the second play? And he was like, you're tired. That's not gonna cut it, you know? And he was like, that same mentality, what you show in the first play, you should do that all the time. That's who you are. When I say he holds every single player accountable from top to bottom, I don't care who it is, that's who he is. And it makes the team come together because nobody's bigger than the team, nobody's bigger than the program. So you have to.
Okay, so let's deal with that. You know, it gives you the wink of the eye, and it just and people talk about the Patriots because he played under the head coach Mike Vrabel. Howie Roseman goes back and forth, and we're going to play Howie later in the show because he goes back and he doesn't go back and forth. He takes both sides of the issue. He's a great player. Well, he's trying to build up. So, oh, he's a great player. He's a great player. He's a great. We know he's a great player. We know he's a great player. So, but he tries to build up his value. It's obvious, and he spoke at different times during the combine. It's obvious that he just wants to build up his value by talking about how great he is. If he's blown away by a deal, AJ Brown's going to be traded. And if he's not blown away by a deal, he's not going to be traded. But we can get your opinions. I mean, and there's a lot of, you know, I listened to Daniel Jeremiah, a lot of good wide receivers in the second and third round that you can still pick up. So they can get a wide receiver and they can help themselves out if they trade him with the cap. So, all right, let's go to the people. And there's a link on the chat line. I'm going to put a QR code up on the screen. If you're not watching on your phone, obviously you know how to use a QR code. And if you want to join the show. All right, George is out there, I believe. And let's go to George. George, good morning. And welcome to it.
How are you? I'm profiling your glasses that I want from you. I'm thinking warmth. You know what I mean? I need some warmth and sunshine that we're bringing next week. So I'm wearing the glasses, folks. These are good glasses. So if you win them,
I know. Hey, my Oakley people really take care of me. Well, I thank all the people for the giveaways. Oakley, Chickies and Pete's. I've had other things. The Fanatics has sent me some stuff. We gave away the unopened box of baseball cards, which to a lot of people are big. And actually, I'm going to have another giveaway of a dinner for two. Giorgio's on Pine. Giorgio is a friend of mine.
Place.
He used to be part of the Monte Carlo living room at 2nd and South, and a great restaurant right off Broad Street on Pine Street, Giorgio on Pine. Anytime I want to give away that, and I'll do that too. So, but I thank all those people for the giveaways. But what did you want to talk about this morning, George? I know AJ Brown is a topic of discussion every day. Hey, how would talk radio live if they didn't have all that bullshit to talk about?
Howard, it's boring day in and day out. I try to listen to it, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. My goodness, can we talk about other things? I mean, you know what? If the Eagles don't get the value for him, AJ isn't going anywhere. Isn't going to go anywhere.
No, that's the whole thing. And how he's trying to build. Oh, he's a great player, and we don't look to trade. And that's okay, but he has to talk to people. If they get blown away by an offer, and they obviously have not gotten blown away yet by an offer, the Patriots. First of all, I'd be surprised if somebody gives up a number one pick. But if you get blown away by an offer, that's one thing. But they haven't been blown away by any offers. It's just
I would get. You look. You said it, and I'm getting excited about looking at. I don't look at the combine. You said there's a lot of receivers in the draft, and you know how he's going to grab a receiver. I mean, they just get picks
Well,
for him.
yeah, well, you're going to do that,
Um,
and they're going to draft a quarterback at some point.
of
They're going
course they
to,
will.
yeah,
Of
but
course they will.
but they're not because of any, because they always do. They always do. That's just part of the deal. That's just part of the deal. It's unbelievable. I'm going to play a comment from the captain of the women's team. You got to be proud of him. And again, I'm not making this political. And please, I don't want to make it political, but they were an afterthought. They were clearly an afterthought, and that's not fair. It's just it doesn't give respect to women, who the guy in the White House doesn't respect women anyway. But you can't make a joke out of it. And all the men from the men's team that were interviewed apologized for laughing when he said, "Oh, I guess we'll have to invite the women too." That's just wrong. It's just wrong. I respect them for not going. I respect them.
I don't want to get into that because we might disagree on some things, and
Yeah,
you know
you're
what?
on the, you're on the wrong
Truth,
side of the fence.
it's all right. It's all right. You know what? It's okay, and I respect that because the way my thing with that, it's your opinion. I totally respect that, and that's how it's supposed to be across
Well,
the board
but
with any of us.
it's the country's opinion too. The country
Right.
is really those players. Most of them apologized because the men's players realized they were wrong. You can't laugh at that, and they were caught up in the moment. And I understand what happened, but they were made to look bad. They were
I
really
think
made
the women
to
are
look
going to
bad.
still be. I think the women are going to be invited to the White House. Between you and I really.
Well,
think
wait a minute. They're already trying, but the women are saying they're not sure they want to go.
they'll go. They'll go. I think they're going to go.
Okay,
Howard.
I'll tell you what. I'll make you a bet, George. I'll make you a bet. If they stand on their morals, they're not going to go because all they're going to do is they're going to be used. They're going to be used, and that's not fair. They're going to be used.
Hope not. I hope not.
But that's what the deal is. They're going to be used. What do you think the men's team? I mean, how about what they gave him in the White House for dinner? Did you see what they gave him for dinner?
Was it a McDonald's?
Yeah, it was McDonald's. It was McDonald's. It was McDonald's on paper plates in the White House. They have a chef 24/7. They gave him McDonald's.
I can't. Yo, Howard, they give you a cheeseburger when you're in a holding cell in jail.
Well, I know it's a joke. All right, so and the other thing I'm going to touch on, I'm going to talk about it later. I got some numbers. The Sixers making a big deal out of Maxey breaking Allen Iverson's 3-point record for shots, 3-point shots made. They didn't shoot threes when Allen played. It was an. I'm going to give you a number that's going to blow you away. Is Maxey better than Michael Jordan? I mean, we know the answer to that.
No, but okay. Howard, check out who's number 3 on the 3 points in the Sixers history. That tells you the team never shot threes. If you see who number 3 was,
who is number 3?
Covington.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! So, do you think AJ Brown's going to be traded or not traded?
No.
Okay. All right.
I don't think they're going to get the value they want. I think they're going to. AJ, you're not going anywhere.
Okay. Hey, George. Thanks for joining the show.
Have a good one. All right.
Have a great weekend.
See ya.
All right. Take care. George is afraid that it's going to be political when I talk about the women's hockey team. He's totally on the wrong side of the world. But I mean, I thank him for joining. All right. Do we have, is Joe out there? Joe wants to join the show. Okay. All right. Let's go to Joe. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hey, Howard. How you doing?
I'm never had a bad day in my life, Joe. Never had a bad day.
You're right. George is on the wrong side of that issue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just, come on. It's just, you can't defend, the moron in the White House over something like that. Yeah.
Indefensible.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
That's scary. So I'm kind of the sad state of Philadelphia sports affairs these days. I was watching the Thunder play last night, and Daryl Morey should be sent out of town on a rail, giving away McCain for nothing.
Oh, he said it was a good deal. He said it was a good deal.
Sure. And I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you too.
Yeah. Right.
It's watching that guy play. Why couldn't he be in the regular rotation for the Sixers?
Well, here's the problem. He couldn't be in the regular rotation because that would be two small guards. They don't play defense anyway. So they can team him up with Oklahoma City because other teams can utilize him. They made a mistake when they drafted him. Not that he's not a good player. They made a mistake, so that's two small guards. So you're going to get hurt on defense. So, but he could be a good bench player. And then they drafted a guard the next year in EdgeCom. So it just when they drafted McCain, he just didn't fit, and that was the problem. But yeah, as I guess you heard Barkley the other night. Yeah, McCain last night played 19 minutes, was 6 for 8, 2 for 3 from 3. He's a bench player, and he's a good bench player, but that's it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what you need. You can't just play with 5.
I know, but Daryl Morey, obviously they weren't going to use him. This team, the Sixers, are a joke, a disgrace, and a mess from the ownership right on down. An absolute. Daryl Morey is a fraud and a con man. It's just terrible. Terrible.
Does he have pictures on every owner in the league? I mean, how does he get a job?
Well, he's only had 2 jobs. He's only had Houston and here as a general manager.
Yeah.
And Houston, he didn't win anything. They were good because he had James Harden and some good players when they were really good. But it's terrible. It's terrible.
Absolutely, it's pathetic.
All right. So my other question is: are the Eagles going to trade AJ Brown? And do you think it's being overplayed, all this AJ Brown trade talk?
Well, the only time I listen to your old station is when I'm in the car, and when I'm bored. And he.
Well, then you get more bored, don't you? Then it bores you even more.
If I have to hear that Joe Giglio and Hugh Douglas talking over people when they're on the phone, I mean. Geez.
Well, I like Joe, I like Hugh, but it's the same BS all day long, day long, and it's just the problem is, and I'm going to read you a part of a story that was written by a website that covers media in the country and how podcasts have passed radio in terms of listeners in the fourth quarter of 2025. It's not going to change. It's not going to go in reverse. It's over. It's over for the spoken word on radio. It's over. Most people, and at your age, you listen to the radio, but most people just plug in their podcasts. That's what they do. They just plug in podcasts.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
What's that?
You can still hear me?
Yeah. I don't know why you cut out, but I can still hear you.
I'm on my iPad's on low power mode.
Okay, I can still hear you. Okay. So do you think that AJ is going to be traded?
I don't think he can be because of the cap hit. So anything it's going to be, if he's traded, it's going to be designated after June 1st. Which means the Eagles will get nothing back for this year's draft. I just assume hold on to them.
Well, they're not going to get what they want. That's the problem. They're not going to get what they want, and that's the issue. And Julian Edelman obviously is starting a lot of nonsense, but everybody starts, and I expect it because as a former Patriot to start those kind of things. And then it just perpetuates itself. And then somebody said Howie Roseman changed his stance on trading. No, he hasn't changed his stance. He says he's a great player, but he listens to everybody. So he's taking both sides, but he will listen. I'm telling you, there's not anybody on that team that if somebody called up and said, "Hey, I want to talk. Would you trade such and such?" Well, what would you offer? You listen. You always listen. That's just part of the deal. You always listen.
No question. That's what a good GM has to do.
It's just, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's just, it's a joke. It's a joke, but that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. It's from people. And then that's what the media has become. That's what the media has become. So
Yeah, it's you're right. The article's right about podcasts. I have a good longtime friend that you probably know, but I won't mention his name. He's well known in the talk radio business, and he told me 5 years ago that podcasts are going to be put talk radio out of business.
yep,
And
yep.
he was right. He's always right. He's probably one of the smartest guys I've ever met,
Uh,
and he's always right.
uh, well, he it's over. It's sad, and I will say it's sad because it's what helped me have what I think is a really, really good career. But sports talk radio, it's done. Radio is basically done. Um, it's sad, but now they're kind of swimming upstream, chasing the problem.
Chasing clicks.
Yep, chasing the yeah.
Technology moves on, so people are able to adapt to new technology or do well. So there's people who are doing very well with podcasts, and it frees them up from oversight from management. Um, obviously you need to get sponsors and you need to get money coming in, but there's a lot of opportunities with podcasts and live streaming on YouTube or wherever. People have to just adapt.
That's what they have to do. They do have to adapt, and it's really, really kind of sad, but it's their own fault, and they created their own problem. It clearly is their own fault.
Well, it's like the NCAA. Now, they screwed the athletes for years and wouldn't change the rules until the Supreme Court made them. And now they're all, complaining about NIL stuff. And it's a problem they created on their own, but they're sheer greed.
It's brutal. It's brutal. But hey, we'll see what happens. Hey, were you impressed by Maxey's 3-point shooting
No,
record?
I mean, you're right. It's like I hear these. I'm a big fan of the ABA. I watched the ABA as a kid, loved it. And you have people talking about, well, the NBA today is like the ABA was. No, it isn't. There's a 3-point line, but the ABA, they didn't come down and hoist 3-pointers all day long, come down on a fast break and shoot 3-pointers. And plus, the ABA actually played defense. There were fights every night.
Yep.
It's like the ABA was way better than today's NBA game.
It's absolutely brutal. Brutal.
Yeah, come down and launch a 3-pointer. It's just, nobody does 15-foot jump shots. They don't run.
No,
It's like
no.
come down and launch 3-pointers. And nobody plays defense. It's ridiculous. Until the playoffs, they play some defense in the playoffs, but that's about it.
Yep. It's just. But hey, I'm going to give you a stat from Michael Jordan comparing his 3-point shooting to what we have now. But anyway, hey Joe, I appreciate the call. Sorry, hey, charge your deal up next.
I'm going to charge it as soon as I get off with you, Howard. I'm going to plug it in.
All right, take care.
All
right.
Try to get there next week.
All right, thanks. All right. We're going to talk more about all this stuff, and we're going to get to other people that want to join the program. And there's a QR code up on the screen. There's a link on the chat line, and there's a QR code up on the screen if you want to join the program. But right now, joining the program is Mark Lawrence to take a look at some college basketball. And it's Saturdays are always big, and then we get to the NCAA tournament, then people go nuts. People are starting to bet more college basketball because people just want to bet basketball. They just want to bet. Forget about basketball. They want to buy time, and they just want to bet. Hey, Mark, good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Howard. It kind of reminds me of if somebody once told me that if they put odds on what color gumball is going to come out of the gumball machine next, people would bet on that as well.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I didn't think about that. Why don't they put that up on the put odds on that too? We'll look at the NBA. We talk about it all the time, but last night the Celtics scored 148 points. Are you kidding me? in an NBA, anybody uh, does anybody play defense in the NBA anymore?
It's like an all-star game every game you tune into. It's incredible. The teams that do play the defense are really, in truth, the ones that are at the top of the standings, because they'll work harder, they'll play the defense, they'll do what needs to be done. But these lower rung teams, these teams that are being accused of tanking, there's no defense whatsoever even talked about on those teams, none whatsoever.
It's a how do you score 148 points? I mean, it's not overtime. That was in regulation. It's just nobody plays defense. And the 3-point, I had Barkley on the other night, and that's just part of it. It's become a 3-point shooting contest. It's just everybody just gets to the 3-point line. Hell, now they don't even get to the 3-point line. They just hoist up threes. Mark, I'm going to give you the Sixers made a big deal that Tyrese Maxey the other night passed Allen Iverson for all-time 3-point shots made. He has 887. Iverson had 885. Maxey in 6 years only has 1,000 less 3-point shots than Iverson took in his 16-year career.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaging Iverson averaged 320 a year. And then Maxey has 500 a year minimum. And this year he'll probably have 600. Just Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan averaged 3-point shots a game.
Three?
Three.
Wow.
No, excuse me. Excuse me. He didn't. I don't think he averaged 3. His best year was 3. It might be 3-shot average of 3-point shots a game. Three. Wow. It's a joke. All right, let's take a look. College basketball is what people they just want some action. It's all about action, Mark. You know it, and I know it. It's all about action. Who do you like today in college basketball?
Well, they're going to get a lot of action here this week and next, Howard, because after this, it's NCAA tournament time or college basketball conference tournament time, then the big dance. But today on Saturday's card, it's filled with what I love is last home games. It's senior day, basically, for these teams that honor the seniors. You usually get really good efforts from these teams, especially when there's reason to play. Today, you've got St. Mary's taking 2.5 at home against Gonzaga. And
Gonzaga's still a pretty good team, right?
Yes, they're a very good team. In fact, there's a thing called the quad rankings. It's how the NCAA ranks these basketball teams on strength of schedule, and quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, depending upon the win-loss record of the opponents you played. And Gonzaga at least cracks the list, even though they play this very terribly light schedule. They're the best of the guys that are not in power conferences. And they've dominated St. Mary's in the past. St. Mary's is always in the NCAA tournament, it seems. They're good enough to be there. They've won 38 of the last 40 home games, has St. Mary's. They're playing with revenge, and now they're going to be the home dog here tonight, taking 2.5 against Gonzaga. I think that has the makings of an upset written all over it, St. Mary's.
That's a pretty good analogy. All right, who else do you like?
We're going to go to Sunday. There's a real nice game on Sunday, Howard. In the Missouri Valley Conference, Bradley is going to be home hosting Murray State. Two what you call mid-major teams, they are for sure. Bradley's a really strong home team, 33-7 their last 40 home games. They're coming off a loss, Bradley. They have same-season revenge against Murray, and Murray comes off their 20th win of the season. Usually you get a little bit of a letdown for teams that crack the 20-win plateau. It all fits nicely into Bradley at home, and they'll lay about 6 points against Murray State tomorrow.
All right, I'm going to take a look at a game, and I saw Kentucky is not as good as Vanderbilt. And I know they're home, and they're a 1.5 favorite. The line always tells me with Kentucky being the favorite, even though it's a small number, would Kentucky be a side, and is this their final home game where the seniors play as well?
Well, there's a lot of love out there right now for Vanderbilt, and rightfully so. They played some really, really good basketball this year. Right now in the standings, they're deadlocked with Kentucky in the standings, so it's a huge game for both basketball teams. but Kentucky only has 18 wins this year. Vanderbilt has 22. So you're going to get a big effort here from Kentucky in this basketball game. I'm going to double check as I'm speaking to you whether or not it's their last home game, and it is not their last home game against
Okay.
Florida. Next week will be their last home game.
Okay. But would you like Kentucky or no?
I'd lean Kentucky small to the side in the basketball game for the price and the fact of it being a huge game for them, and they're trailing Vanderbilt in the standings. And Vanderbilt, not only are they that good, but in these Ken Palm rankings, which I've talked before in the past about, they rank number 11 overall in the country in overall efficiency and defensive efficiency. So Vanderbilt is for real, but Kentucky's got a lot of history, and I think they have a lot working for them tonight here. I would like Kentucky here. They snapped a 3-game losing streak with the win at South Carolina. I think it'll help them tonight.
You know what? I know one team. Is Penn State playing their last home game? Penn State has a brutal basketball team this year, 11-17. I don't know. I guess I could check that too.
I can look real quick here.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it as I'm asking you.
Okay.
No, Ohio State's their last home game. I was going to say if it's their last home game, I don't know if you could take 9.5 with Penn State against Iowa. They play Ohio State. Their next game is at home against Ohio, so it's not their last home game. So that's not in the picture. But there's always games that kind of jump out at you. You know, it's actually a good team, but I don't like the number. St. Joe's is at Rhode Island, and the coach at St. Joe's has done a nice job. They got a winning record. They're 18-10, so they have a chance to win 20 games this year, and that's kind of a standard that teams look for. Yet they're a 3.5-point underdog at Rhode Island, who's only 15-13. That line's telling me Rhode Island might be the side, even though St. Joe's has had a good season this year.
Yes, they have. You look at the standings. Rhode Island 5-9 in conference play. St. Joe's 10-5. It's all St. Joe's. 18 wins this year. Rhode Island on the short side with victories, just 15. It does tell you just that. I think St. Joe's is the much stronger basketball team. They will be in a postseason tournament, St. Joe's will. And St. Joe's is one of these rare teams that has also played well away from home as opposed to doing all their damage at home this year. They don't have a winning record, but they've won almost break even on the road here. I'd lean to St. Joe's in this game plus the points. The wrong team might look like it's favored here.
Okay, so you do like St. Joe.
Yes, I do. And
Okay.
what is Phil Martelli doing these days?
He's helping his son at VCU, not officially as an assistant coach, but his son, I believe it's VCU. It's in Virginia. I think his son is the head coach at VCU. So, and Phil works with people in the community. Phil has stayed very active. Great guy. Love Phil. Great guy. And but he goes down, I think, most games, and he's there again, not officially as an assistant coach, but he's helping his son. I don't even know what VCU's record. I think it's VCU as his son is the head coach.
Yeah, VCU's won 21 games here, and they're only a game behind St. Louis in the A10, Atlantic 10. St. Louis is a monster mid-major team, and VCU's right behind them. So they're doing a good job together, the Martellis there at VCU.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where he is at Virginia Commonwealth. So, but that's what he's doing. And Phil wanted to stay in coaching. He was coaching, as you know, he was an assistant at Michigan for a few years after he left St. Joe's. But yeah, but he does things in the community. I think he helps high school teams. He's got a podcast, but he's got things that he does to help people in the community. Phil Martelli has stayed very active, yet he's not officially coaching officially, although I know he's helping his son a lot. So
he put St. Joe's basketball on the map, at least for me, following them, and did a terrific job. And I've really admired what he's done, and I'm glad to hear he's working with his son now, and they're doing a good job together as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just any prop bets that jump at you.
You could talk about prop bets in the sense of, will the team make the NCAA basketball tournament? Teams that are on the bubble per se, things like that. But there is another factor. I mentioned these quad wins, and I'm going to go back to it again because you can guarantee that a number one seed will come out of these 6 teams because they lead the nation in Quad 1 and Quad 2 wins. Michigan, the best in the country, 21-2 against Quad 1 and Quad 2 teams. Duke, 17-2. Arizona, 17-2. Connecticut, 15-2. Iowa State, 16-4. Those 6 teams there, Howard, will comprise half of those teams will comprise the Final Four. It happens every year. So if a person wants to make a futures bet here, don't look out and beyond these guys. If you're going to do anything, take half of these guys, sprinkle them in a little dust on them, and play the mid majors. But the problem with the mid majors and the props is the NIL and the fact that the big power conferences are stripping these teams from all of their talent. We saw it last year. There were hardly any upsets last year. It was sickening.
It's absolutely disgraceful. But to forget about mid majors, if they make the Sweet 16, that's an accomplishment.
Yes, it is. Today it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
In today's world,
that would be St. Louis, by the way.
It's just I don't know that 20 wins the staple to get an NCAA bid. I don't even know anymore.
Well, it used to be when they played maybe a handful fewer games, when the teams only played like 28 games or 27. Now they're playing 30, 32. It's like the Michael Jordan 3-point shots. Maxey making those 3-point shots. He's making more because he's hoisting more.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's just, the game it's a bad game. It's a terrible game. The NBA's trying to spice it up with the announcing team on Tuesday night. It was supposed to be a good game, San Antonio at the Sixers. And then Doug Collins, Bob Costas, and Mike Fratello are going to, I believe all 3 of them are going to be doing that game. So they're trying to get people to watch because those people are announcing. And they want to watch Wemby. But it's just the NBA can't help themselves. They've let the game fritter away into all it is a bunch of threes. They ought to put the line back. They're already shooting, 3 to 5 feet behind the line anyway. A lot of these guys, it's really kind of a joke.
I don't know what's gotten into San Antonio here, but right now, they look like they're for real. They're on an 11-game win streak, and they're winning the games by almost 18 points a game. I don't know if Wemby has come around and these other players have learned to play with them.
He's done a better job. Yeah. What are the odds for them winning the championship? You can probably get good odds, and it wouldn't be a bad bet to take a chance.
Because other than Oak City, the West is up for grabs. Other than Oak City, right?
Yeah. So I don't know what the number is, but it'd probably be good. All right, Mark. People have interest in your services. 800-321-7777 or on the internet, playbooksports.com. All right, we're getting closer to the NCAA tournament. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you next week.
I'll catch you next week. Enjoy the games, Howard. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Mark Lawrence. It's just makes some good points about these games, but he looks into it. He's got a database that it's good as anybody's. All right, I do want to talk about Maxey, AJ Brown, and I got Howie Roseman. I want to play the AJ Brown comment again, and then we're going to get to some callers. But first, I want to tell you I'm happy and joyed and honored to have Stillwell Financial Advisors as our presenting sponsor. Jeff Stillwell is the man, award-winning Jeff Stillwell, but he's an award winner because he helps his people. I want to say they're clients, but they're more than just clients. He gets to know them well and helps them out, and that's why he's an award winner, because he's accomplished a lot. He's established himself as one of the company's top advisors, and only a select number of high-performing advisors earn the award in the Circle of Success by Ameriprise Financial. Jeff Stillwell, his number 732-343-0813. All right, a couple other things I want to touch on. Our winner, let's get to our winner of the Oakley sunglasses from the last show. And the question I got out of Charles was the most important player, influential player in his career. And that was Moses Malone. And didn't hesitate for a second, that it was Moses Malone. And Eric Waldron was one of the people that submitted his entry to our website and the contact page and had the correct answer, and he was selected at random. Congratulations, Eric. Eric Waldron, the winner of a pair of Oakley sunglasses. All right. There's some other things. All right, let me give you some numbers, and I want to get back to the people that want to join the program, and I'm going to get to them. And Maxey, they celebrated his passing Allen Iverson, 887 three-point shots. Allen Iverson in his career had 3,383 three-point shots. Maxey and that was 16 years. Maxey in only 6 years in his career, and he's not done this year. About 1,000 less in 6 years. So he's got 10 years. I'll pass him by far. Maxey in the last 3 years has had 569, 478, and 508 three-point shots. 508 this year, and he's not done yet. Iverson only averaged 320 shots a year. I think Maxey's the best player on the team. He's a great guy, listens to the coach, plays hard. I think he's the best guy on the team. No question. However, it's a bogus record. It's bogus because the game has changed so much. Now, here's something that is amazing. I checked Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the best player ever in the NBA, ever. He only in his it was 15 years in his career. He took 1 year off, but he played 15 years. Only had 1,778. So Maxey in 6 years is already 600 past the number of shots taken. Michael Jordan's average of three-point shots taken a game is three. His total for his 15-year career, 581. That's 300 less than Tyrese Maxey made, three-point shots made. That shows you why the three-point shot, when you're talking about records for three-point shot, and the Sixers, third on the Sixers list, and George pointed him out, was Covington. Are you kidding me, right? You know, to make a big deal. And you want to celebrate a guy. I get it. But when Embiid's not playing, and that's more than half the time, you need somebody to score. So and now it's all about three-point shots. So that's a bogus record. Hey, it's great that he makes three-point shots, but it's bogus because so many people take three-point shots. All right, let me tell you about some of the other partners, great partners that we have on this program. And one of those would be Thomas Chevrolet. I'm going to get to the people on the line here in a second. Thomas Chevrolet, located at 1263 West Baltimore Pike in Media. Family-owned business. Actually, really nice vehicles. I would have never realized it until I started driving one. And just because I'm driving one doesn't mean I'm saying that it's a good vehicle. The Equinox is rated by Consumer Reports very, very high among all automobiles, all. But Thomas Chevrolet, good thing, it's a family business. You'll notice that when you just walk into the door, family-owned business. Thomas Chevrolet, 38 years in the business. 38, that says something. Whether it's the Corvette, the Equinox, the Silverado, Traverse, or Tahoe, whether it's a pre-owned vehicle, and they have a great selection of pre-owned vehicles. The Corvette, they are a certified Corvette specialist dealer. Every time I walk into the showroom, I always walk over to the Corvette and say, do I want to get into a Corvette? Thomas Chevrolet, great service department, really, really great people. I've met those guys. They'll do service on any make or model vehicle. They'll take care of it. Thomas Chevrolet, 1263 West Baltimore Pike, 610. Here's their number, 610-566-8600. Or check them out on the internet. I'm telling you, when you walk in, you'll notice. Check them out on the internet, thomaschevy.com. And Piaza Property Pros, they're now doing podcasts because Jim Piaza is kind of getting into just expanding the business, which is already great. 25 years of a great business. And you want a pool, they can give you a vision. I said vision of that pool. They can give you a vision of that pool. by the people that work there through the technology that exists and show you what your backyard could look like, and they can do your front yard too, front yard, backyard, fencing, hardscaping, landscaping, pool maintenance. They do that. If you want to build a pool, you better make that decision now because they already have a lot of people on the list. It's only so many, it takes a little time. It's only so many you can build each month. And I would suggest you get a hold of Piaza Property Pros. More good people, and they'll, see if they can work within your budget. Here's the number: 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation. Not everybody does a free consultation. Free consultation, 610-566-2608, or on the internet, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right, let's go and go. Who's our next caller? Joe. Joe's my producer. Who's our next caller? Yeah. Some people they join and then they just hang in there for me. I'll get to you. It just started. Let's go. Let's go to Tony.
Hi, Howard.
Hey, Tony. How are you?
Hey,
Hey, Tony, what does he have to do to get the reverb off there? What does he have to do? He's listening and watching on two different devices, I imagine, right?
yeah, I'm trying to echo in here.
Tony, just talk to me. Just talk to me on one device.
I'm on one device.
Why is that happening? All right, Tony, why don't you reconnect? I'm gonna play a couple of things. Tony, reconnect, and we'll try to get you up again. AJ Brown, I played at the beginning of the show, and this, you didn't need anything to get the ball rolling. But AJ Brown was with Julian Edelman. Let me play that again, and then I'm going to play Howie Roseman, who spoke towards the end of when he was at the combine. Let's hear from AJ Brown.
Just remember, we're all patriots. You know that, right?
Are you going to be a Patriot? Are you going to be a Patriot? Wait,
what's a team meeting like with Vrabel?
It wouldn't be as comfortable as we are right now. Let's start there. But Vrabel is the type of coach, he's going to call on you in the meetings. He's going to make sure that you're staying engaged, and he's going to go over the keys to victory of the week. And you better know them like to the back of your hand. I used to write in my notebook because at the time, I didn't really like Vrabel. I admit that he knows that. So I used to write, I hate Vrabel, I hate Vrabel, I hate Vrabel, right? But I was doing that to pretend like I was taking notes to look like I was engaged, but because he was so hard on me when I was a rookie and I didn't really understand it. And so it was at the time I told Ray, I was like, hey, like I'm humble already. You don't gotta humble me. But I really didn't understand what he was trying to push me to be. And another little quick thing, he showed a clip, I ran like a bang eight and I scored and he praised me. And so I was kind of feeling good about myself, right? I'm a rookie. A couple of plays later, he showed me another play with the bang eight and I get tackled. And he's like, what's the difference between the first play and the second play? And he was like, you're tired. That's not gonna cut it, And he was like, that same mentality, what you showed in the first play, you should do that all the time.
We get the gist of that. So, Julian Edelman starts this. Now, Howie Roseman at the combine also, he spoke, you speak to a lot of people. And he didn't say he wasn't going to trade him, but he didn't say he was going to trade him, but he leaves the door open. Listen closely to Howie Roseman.
We're in the business of keeping great players, and AJ is a great player. AJ is a difference-making player for our team. He's been on our team 4 years. We've been to the playoffs all four of those years, won a Super Bowl, been in 2 Super Bowls, and he's a captain on our team. And so you're not looking to get rid of players like that. For us, the disappointment in the season was not progressing past the first round of the playoffs. So we're looking to build on that and go forward. And so that's adding on. At the same time, there's nobody. Our job as GMs, we got to listen, on anyone. And that doesn't have anything to do with AJ. If anyone calls me and says, hey, I want to talk to you about a player, for me just to say unequivocally, I'm not taking your call, that doesn't make sense because I don't know what they're going to say on the other end. Now, the chances that I'm doing that with a great player, they're not very high.
So he takes both sides. He takes both sides of the issue. And he's absolutely, he didn't say he wasn't going to trade him. He didn't say he was going to trade him. And he, because he doesn't want to, And AJ understands. It's just he understands. Whether you don't say you're going to trade him, because then it's what Dave Dombrowski did when he said Nick Castellanos wasn't going to be with the team next year, so he boxed himself into a corner. Every team knew that they didn't have to trade for him because the Phillies were going to have to release him. Now the Eagles are not going to release AJ Brown, but you don't box yourself into a corner. But you noticed what he said. He said clearly, he said that you listen to everybody. You don't say no. Uh, there's not one player on that team. If somebody called up, a general manager called up, and I'm sure he's spoken to maybe all of them, but most of them this last week at the combine. He's never going to say no. No, I'm not trading that guy. Well, what would you offer? That's what he's going to say. That's what he's going to say. What would you offer? And the thing with AJ, I would be, and if the Eagles are trying to get multiple first round picks, I don't even know if they'll get one first round pick. And the reason is, if he was 25 years old, it's like Jalen Phillips. I don't think the Eagles will re-sign him. He's got value because he's 26 years old. Obviously, he's not going to be franchised or any of that stuff. I don't know if the Eagles could franchise him. He's 26 years old, and teams know that they're probably going to get at least 6 to 8 years out of that player. Where A.J. Brown, you figure he's got probably 3 good years. He's probably got 3 good years and maybe 4. He'll probably be around longer than that. But you don't give up first-round picks for that. Now, in the case of New England, that would be an interesting situation. Interesting because their first-round pick is really a second-round pick because it's the next to last pick in the first round. So I think the Eagles, if they would trade with New England, I don't know that New England wants to give up that pick either because they're going to build off what they have. But they need a wide receiver. Are they going to give up their first round pick? I don't know that they would. But it's something that they could think about because it's not a great first round pick. And they could use another wide receiver. And he's played for Vrabel, and they have a good quarterback. So that would be interesting. It would clearly be interesting. So I just don't. I think there's a better chance that he stays. And if anything happens, I think after June 1st, the cap number may change a little bit. I don't know if it changes much for A.J. Brown, but it may change. It may change a little bit. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I think there's a good chance. There's a good chance that AJ Brown is going to be there. I think with the Eagles. I still think he's going to be with the Eagles. I mean, it's pretty. It's just I can't see how they're going to get. I can't see how they're going to get any kind of real value. How are you going to get real value? I'm not sure you're going to get real value. I'm really not. I'm really not sure. It's just, and that's the that's the issue. That's really the issue right now. The Phillies in spring training, and I tell people, and this is what you've got to understand. I tell people that it's not. The numbers are meaningless in spring training, meaningless. And that's what you got to understand. They're really meaningless in spring training. But hey, it is what it is. Guys are playing, wind's blowing out, pitchers are working on things. It's ridiculous. All right. I want to read you comments. Barrett Media is a national media website, and they put out stories on the media nationally, usually twice a day, every day. There was a story on the radio, talk radio, all kind, whether it's news, talk, or sports talk. I'm going to read this to you just to kind of explain to you where things are, um, where things are with talk radio. And it's sad. And I say it's sad because it was a big part when I did the first. Who would have known that WIP would have gotten to where they got after I did the first sports talk show, August 29th, 1986, on WIP, and I did it. And, it just it's I'm just sad that that it's turned into what it's turned into. All right, here's the story by from Barrett Media. I'm going to read it to you. Talk radio has always believed it owned the spoken word audio lane. For decades, if you wanted news, opinion, or sports debate, AM/FM radio was the default destination. That assumption officially cracked in the fourth quarter, this last quarter of 2025. According to a new Edison research data, more people listen to podcasts than the AM/FM radio spoken word formats combined, including all news, news talk, and sports talk. That's not a vibes based argument. It's not anecdotal. The data is clear, and it's also uncomfortable for anyone who has spent a career inside traditional radio. Podcast listening didn't just grow again, it passed broadcast spoken word audio for the first time. This is the moment where leaders in the format have two choices. You can plug your ears or shout, or you can do something about it. Now, I don't know if they can do anything about it. The story goes on. Denial has always been radio's worst reflex. We've seen it before with streaming music. We watched it with satellite radio. We're watching it again now with on-demand audio. The belief that AM/FM radio is going to suddenly charge back and surpass podcast listening feels like wishful thinking at best. Audience behavior rarely moves backward once habits are formed. People like choice, control, convenience, and personalization, and podcasting delivers all four. You can do what you want, but it's just it's boring. It's over. It's done. And they're going to swim upstream to try to save it. They've waited too long because they rested it, and you can see by what story was written. That's an independent, no side taken story on what's happening to the spoken word, talk radio, news radio, and unless there's a snowstorm, the news station in Philadelphia. I mean, you go for traffic once in a while, but that's about it. But talk radio has really become, for a lot of people, it's become irrelevant. It's just, it's really become irrelevant in a lot of cases. Hey, if they didn't have the Eagles and the Phillies, you wouldn't even know they exist. So, all right, there's some other things. All right, we have something to give away. It would be a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. And here's the question: the two games that Mark Lawrence, the top two games that he gave, that's the question. Answer the question through the contact page, howardeskin.com at howardeskin.com by midnight, Tuesday, March 3rd. Watch the show on Wednesday, March 4th at 7:30. I know I'm going to have a coach on, NFL coach, at 7:30 to see if you've won. We're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube, always notified. I think on all the platforms, you get notified when I come on live, and then you can always go back and look at it. The winner will be randomly chosen from all correct entries. The top two games that Mark Lawrence picked when he was on the air. All right, before we go today, and I don't want this to be political, but it turns into political because you can't talk politics because people always argue. This is not a political statement. This is just the right thing and the wrong thing. And I am proud that the U.S. women's team decided not to go to the White House and be put on display at the State of the State of the Union was long enough, but at the State of the Union, because obviously they were just being used. I don't think Trump really cared that they won the gold medal, and that's not political. I just think that's just who he is. But the captain of the U.S. women's team, so sharp, so good. She stated it. She didn't state it with anger, but Hillary Knight is her name, and she talked about the situation when Donald Trump invited the U.S. women's team, basically as an afterthought, and you can hear the audio. Let's listen to it, and then I'll have some comments.
But the joke was distasteful and unfortunate.
We're giving the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I could send a military plane or something, but if you would like to, it's the coolest night. We have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
Absolutely. The way women are represented, it's a great teaching point to really shine light on how women should be championed for their amazing feats. And now I have to sort of sit, and anybody has to sit in front of you and explain someone else's behavior. It's not my response. So, but what is shifting the focus and shifting the narrative of this amazing accomplishment that we all did together. And granted, the men's and the women's team did it together, and that is super special. It's never been done in our program's history. It's something we're extremely proud about. These women are amazing, and whatever is going on should never outshine or minimize their work and our success on the world stage. This was the best American women's hockey team, the best American team we've ever put together on a world stage when the lights have been the brightest ever. And so I think everybody felt that, going through the tournament. And I want to celebrate. I want people to be remembered for that. I want the legacy of this team to be remembered.
You know what? It was a statement that she made because they were kind of pressed into it. If they had been invited, like the men's team, and all right, let's just start from the beginning. The White House used both those teams. Should you honor them? Yeah, absolutely, positively. But they were being used, and to make the women's team an afterthought after the work that they put in and won another gold medal and won a gold medal. I am proud of the women's team for saying we're not going, and are trying to work it out, and they're kind of being invited. And if I were them, I wouldn't go. Move on, because it's going to become a story beyond being honored. So here's what was wrong. They were treated with disrespect, clearly with disrespect as an afterthought. Everybody that's been interviewed from the men's team that was on that team that laughed and giggled when that fraud, who's a director of the FBI, Kash Patel, wanted to kiss Donald Trump's ass by calling him, "Hey, I'm in the locker room, I'm drinking beers, I'm having a good time," which was wrong too, to display that. That was wrong. But that's another story. I don't want to get into that. When the men's team laughed, they now realize how wrong. It was at the moment. I can't blame them totally because they were caught up in the moment. And it was, once one person laughs and other people laugh, and they all apologize. And anybody that was questioned about that from the men's team, when they got back to their teams, when they were questioned, they said it was wrong, and we apologize. And has anybody else apologized for that statement? I don't think so. Matter of fact, I know so. So this is how the the White House treated the men's team. They had them at the White House before the State of the Union. I think it was before. It wasn't after the State of the Union. I think it was before. But they had dinner for them at the White House. You know, and I see Ted Rhodes. It's a shame for both men's and women's team that it became political. Yes, and it shouldn't become. That's the whole thing. We should treat sports and not make it political. And people are making this political, and it's not political. It was just wrong. But the men's team was honored so much that at dinner, the White House sent out for McDonald's, I guess, Big Macs and cheeseburgers, and served it to the men's hockey team on paper plates. This is the White House. And they gave them McDonald's. They have a chef there, and they have a pastry chef. I met the pastry chef back in the Bush administration, who used to work at the Borgata. Great guy, and whatever the president wanted, they made. But to send out for McDonald's, it wasn't cheeseburgers and hamburgers that they made there at the White House, that they cooked up at the White House. They sent out to McDonald's and served them cheeseburgers and Big Macs on paper plates. You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. You're kidding me. It's just, I see Richard. Maybe they requested McDonald's. No, they didn't request anything. You don't request dinner from the White House. You just go there, and whatever they serve you, they serve you. It wasn't requested by them. Robert Henderson says, I'm proud of the women's national hockey team. They didn't go to the farce of the State of the Union address. Well, that's a political statement. Whether you disliked, or disagreed with whatever it was, I don't want to make this political. The bottom line is the women's hockey team were an afterthought. They were insulted by not inviting them after they won the gold medal. And then you can wait. And then you invite them. And then maybe you can invite them together, which they tried to do. And the women said, no, basically we had other things to do. It's just, hey, Richard, just stop. Richard obviously is a Villanova guy, and I don't know where he's coming from. How do you know they didn't request McDonald's? They didn't request McDonald's, and I know that for a fact. All right, that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay, Richard, that's a fact. It was insulting to them. The whole thing was insulting, and it's sports. Sports shouldn't be that way. It should be separated, and this is not a political statement. It should be separated. And the women's team, by not being used and being insulted, I would not ever go to the White House. Well, hold it, Herb. The women were invited. You heard the audio clip. Maybe we'll have to invite the women's team. So they invited them after they invited the men's team in that what turned into a giggle fest with the FBI director after he's had maybe a few beers, playing that audio and making a joke out of it. It's just, hey, they both should have been invited. And Hillary Knight, I give her credit for being the captain. And I give the women's team credit. 5 of the men's players didn't come to the White House. But again, it's become political because the president made it political. And that's shouldn't be the case. It's sports. We're supposed to have fun with sports. We're supposed to honor people that achieve something, whether they win a gold, they win a championship. And that's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. And the president made it political, and he made it insulting. And that's not right. And again, I'll say I'm proud of the U.S. women's gold medal winning U.S. women's hockey team. And I hope they turn down. The White House is trying to get them there. and the women haven't agreed. I hope they turn him down. Um, uh, hey, John, the women won first and turned down the invite. No, they didn't turn down the invite. They didn't turn down the invite first. They were invited as an afterthought. You're wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And I just want to state that. Don't defend what was a disgrace. All right? And it's sports. Let's have fun with sports. Hey, we have opinions. I mean, I'm on here, I'm on this show. Hey, James, thanks. 100% agree with Howard. James, what's it, deck one. But I have opinions, and you may not always agree with me. I try to source them out. I don't try. I do. When it's more than an opinion, I'll tell you. When it's an opinion, I have opinions, but based on people that I've spoken to. And when I have stories, it's real sources. It's not bogus sources. It's and when something's just not right, something's just not right, and then you check it out even more and say, wait a minute, was what we're being told right, or is that just BS? But I have opinions. You have opinions. We all have opinions. Let's keep it to sports. And hey, listen, argue with me about sports. Uh, 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 Argue with me about sports and talk to me about sports. I don't want to talk politics, and I didn't want this to be politics, but and it's not a political thing as far as I'm concerned. It's a right and wrong thing, and I'll leave it at that. All right. I thank you for joining the program today. Be back on Wednesday. I'm going to have an NFL coach on with me on Wednesday. See what happened at the combine. It's just it's football season, 12 months a year. Phillies are going to start the season in less than a month. Less than a baseball starting the season in less than a month. But the problem now we realize in baseball, Tony, let's go Sixers. Sixers stink, Tony. The Sixers stink. Hey, Tony, next time, what you got to do is turn down the audio on whatever device you're using. That's how you got the reverb. Turn down your audio, and then you can come on. But again, thank you. Thanks to Joe Gangemi on the other side. Thanks to for the technical work. Thanks to Tony Anastasia for all the graphics and things she does with my website and with the show. And thanks to you. Sports. We want it to be sports. You have a strong opinion about sports? I want to hear from you. Even if you disagree with me, and I disagree with you. But let's keep politics out of sports and let's do the right thing. And women now are a part of our sports community, whether it's basketball, whether it's hockey, whatever the women's sport is, they're a part of our sports world. And we got to treat them, and I will always, and you should too, treat them with respect. And congratulations to the U.S. women's gold medal winning hockey team. And you too, Hillary Knight, stand up for what you believe and never change your beliefs. I shouldn't say never change your beliefs. If somebody convinces you for good reason, that's fine. But sports, thank you for joining the show. Thanks for joining the Howard Eskin Show. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yes, K-I-N. Oh, yeah. Hey, you turn it up, Philly. It's time to roll on the ones and twos, taking full control from the link to the X, from the Sixers to the fields. One voice cuts through, giving you the real. He broke the stories, he started the fire, launched the whole game back in '86, never retired. Heroes crown him, yeah, they call him the king. Fur coat flashing, bling bling in every ring. He's the hardest working Eagles, Flyers, he knows the deal. Philly sports royalty, bow down and kneel. Riding with the king, put your hands in the air. From South Philly streets to the Delaware. No filter, no fear, just the facts on the mic. It's the Howard Eskin Show. Let's go get signed. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king. Hey, riding with the king. Riding with the king.